Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really jumping into what's buzzing across X, the big debates, the stuff everyone's talking about.
Yeah, we've sorted through, well, a lot of posts to find the key things you need to know.
Exactly. It's not just what's trending, right?
Right. It's the why. What's the story behind it? What does it tell us about, where things are heading? We're going to connect those dots for you.
Okay, let's get into it. From the funny to the, well, pretty profound. Get ready for a quick look at what's captured everyone's attention. First up, the digital world. AI has been having, well, maybe a bit of a moment. There's this post from @NHES123ABC going around.
Oh, the Claudius one.
Yeah. Anthropic's AI, Claude, trying to run a vending machine, and it was a disaster.
A complete disaster. It's like made up fake employee.
Totally. Lost money, had an identity crisis, sent crazy emails. Anthropic even admitted it in their own review.
Which is pretty funny, but also kind of sobering when you think about it.
How so?
Well, you've got the CEO, Dario Amodei, saying AI could replace, 50% of entry-level jobs in 5 years?
Yeah, huge claim.
Exactly. And then you have Claudius here, struggling with snacks.
Yeah.
It just shows, the gap between the big promises and the messy reality of actually getting AI to work reliably in the real world.
Right, so maybe not replacing us all next Tuesday then.
Probably not quite yet. It raises big questions about how ready AI really is for complex stuff, despite all the hype.
Okay, from AI hiccups, let's shift to crypto. @WatcherGuru posted this amazing little fact.
Oh, yeah.
10 years ago today, Bitcoin was just $250.
Wow. $250.
And now, it's looking like it could hit nearly $98,500 by mid-2025. That's like a 70% compound growth rate every year. Insane.
It really is staggering. And it shows how things like, remember the Greek debt crisis back in 2015?
Yeah.
That actually drew a lot of attention to Bitcoin as something different outside the traditional system, decentralized.
Ah, okay.
And now everyone's buzzing about the 2025 halving event because historically, after the halvings in 2012, 2016, 2020,
The price jumped. Exactly. Big jumps. The data shows reducing that supply growth really impacts the value. So it's this mix of global events and the built-in rules of Bitcoin itself driving things.
fascinating stuff. Okay, staying with big tech figures for a sec, Elon Musk. Suju Doge noted it was his 54th birthday recently.
Right.
And obviously, the guy's worth a fortune. Forbes said something like $424.7 billion back in May. But it's not all birthday cake, is it? There's ongoing controversy.
No, definitely not. And that's what's so interesting, right? You have this one person pushing boundaries like crazy Neuralink, space, all that. But at the same time,
Yeah.
well, Neuralink's facing real ethical scrutiny over its animal trials, even though it got FDA breakthrough status for human tests way back in 2020.
Right, the primate trials.
Mm-hmm. And then you've got the Tesla takedown protests, apparently in over 100 cities since February this year.
Wow.
So it just highlights this intense division, pushing the future forward, but also facing serious criticism and public pushback. It's a real balancing act, or maybe not so balanced sometimes. Okay, let's pivot to more societal stuff. There was this really intense scene captured in a post from Germany by @RealMaluf.
Yeah, saw that one.
I-
On a bus.
Exactly. A Muslim woman confronting two younger girls who weren't wearing hijabs.
And the girl's response was pretty direct.
Super direct. Basically, this is Germany. It's a public space. People do what they want. If you don't like it, you can leave.
Oof, yeah. That really cuts to the heart of a huge question for diverse societies, doesn't it? How do you balance religious freedom and secular rules and just personal liberty, especially in public?
It's tricky.
It is. And
Yeah.
Germany's own rules are evolving. There was that 2021 law about civil servants and religious symbols
Yeah.
trying to maintain neutrality.
Right.
Plus, you have a large Muslim population, over 5 million, and, different generations have different views on adherence. So these public moments, they're like windows into much bigger debates.
Definitely makes you think. Okay, switching gears, completely body image.
Yeah.
@Terrible808 posted a video.
The bikini one.
That's the one. A woman in a bikini, clearly curvy, with the question, be honest. Would you consider this fat?
And that just kicked things off.
Instantly.
Yeah, it taps right into the whole body positivity movement, challenging those old, often totally unrealistic beauty standards.
Try and say all bodies are good bodies.
Exactly. And it's interesting because some research, like from WooPlus.com, even suggests curvy figures might have lower risks for some chronic diseases. Now, obviously, health is way more complex than just how someone looks.
Sure, of course.
But it really highlights how subjective beauty is.
Yeah.
And this ongoing conversation about health versus appearance and just accepting ourselves.
It's a big conversation. Okay, brace yourself for this next one. From @dudespostingws, it's a picture.
Oh, no.
Yeah. 35 bladder stones with the caption, W4 surviving this.
35. What?
How? Get this. Removed from a guy who drank 3 liters of Coca-Cola
Right.
every single day.
3 liters
Yeah.
daily.
Right?
That's just a shocking reminder, isn't it? How everyday habits can have massive health costs we just don't think about.
Totally.
And it lines up with the science. There was a big study back in 2013, Clinical Journal of the American Society of Nephrology, I think, linked sugary sodas to a 23% higher risk of kidney stones.
Why, though?
It's the phosphoric acid and all that sugar. Messes with your urine chemistry, basically. Makes it easier for stones to form.
And the procedure to get them out. Cysto something.
Cystolitholaxy, yeah. Basically breaking them up and removing them. It's for severe cases, which, well, 35 stones sounds pretty severe. Really challenges the idea that soda is just a harmless treat, you know?
No kidding. Okay, from health consequences to legal ones. Breaking news from @FamilyDSC about that TikToker, Wolfie Coletti. Real name, Charles Smith.
Ah, the pesticide guy.
Yeah, he got sentenced. A year in prison.
For spraying pesticide on food in Walmart as a stunt.
Exactly. Trying to poison food, basically. But the reaction online was huge. A lot of people thinking 1 year was way too light.
Yeah, there was definitely outrage about the sentence length.
Yeah.
Perceived inconsistency.
So what's the takeaway here?
Well, it really throws a spotlight on the power of social media and the fact that online actions have very, very real-world consequences, sometimes criminal ones,
Right. Crossing a line.
definitely crossing a line.
Right.
And the public reaction, calling for more accountability for these dangerous pranks, it forces a conversation about digital ethics, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Where are the boundaries?
Good question. Okay, let's move into the political sphere now. Urine on Central posted something pretty thought-provoking,
Oh, yeah.
claiming the U.S. founding fathers basically predicted an oligarchic dictator, citing James Madison in the Federalist Papers worrying about wealth inequality,
Federalist 10.
and Thomas Jefferson apparently warning about banks being a bigger threat than armies.
Wow. That connects directly to today's debates, doesn't it?
Yeah.
About concentrated power, wealth, inequality.
Seems like it.
And the data kind of backs up the inequality trend, the Gini coefficient, that measure of inequality. It went up quite a bit in the U.S. between 1970 and 2020. There was even an IMS paper linking a big financial sector to democratic erosion.
Really?
Yeah. But here's the twist. Some of the Constitution's original checks and balances, like the Electoral College,
Yeah.
well, they were partly designed by the elites of that time to limit direct popular rule, not necessarily to stop wealth concentrating at the top.
Mm.
So a really complex legacy. It reminds us these debates about power and democracy are, well, not new at all.
Definitely not. Okay, another big political item, Elon Musk again, this time from his own account at Elon Musk. He was tearing into a new Senate tax bill.
Calling it insane and destructive, I saw that.
Yeah, his argument is it'll kill millions of clean energy jobs.
Yep.
He mentioned a report saying over 3 million people work in that sector.
Right.
And damage future industries. Because it taxes wind and solar, requires non-Chinese materials soon, but actually subsidizes coal for a few more years.
Which seems contradictory.
Right.
It throws up that classic policy dilemma, doesn't it? How do you balance jobs at home, global trade issues, especially with China dominating solar manufacturing?
Like 80% of it.
Yeah, something like that. And the urgent need to tackle climate change. Studies suggest these kinds of restrictions could delay green projects, cost
Yeah.
billions.
While subsidizing coal.
Exactly.
Yep.
And the IPCC is clear. We need less coal, drastically less, very quickly, to limit warming. So yeah, it's a tangle of competing priorities. No easy answers there.
Seems that way. Okay, speaking of Senate drama, Analysis reported on Chuck Schumer using a really rare tactic.
The sledgehammer.
Yeah, forcing a full reading out loud of that huge 900-plus page Trump spending bill.
I haven't seen that used much since, what, 2010?
Apparently, the bill itself, Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill Act, barely passed the House, and it limits state AI rules for 10 years, interestingly.
So the reading tactic, it's mostly for delay, right?
Mhm.
And maybe exposing stuff buried in the bill.
That's the idea, I think.
Yep.
Transparency.
Yeah, some research suggests transparency can cut down on sneaky spending projects. But that whole budget reconciliation process, they used to pass it in the House.
The one that avoids the filibuster.
Right. Critics say it lets one party push through major changes without broad support. So while the reading delay probably won't kill the bill, It's definitely a political theater, highlighting the divisions, using obscure rules strategically. Fascinating to watch the mechanics.
It really is. Now, a post from at Charlie Kirk 11 pointed out something interesting. A CNN segment actually called it President Trump's historically good week.
CNN said that.
Yeah, which, is notable given their usual stance.
Yeah.
They mentioned military actions against Iran, stock market highs, low inflation, gains with Latino voters, a supportive Supreme Court ruling.
So specific achievements being acknowledged.
Seems like it.
Well, that kind of thing can happen, right? When major events occur, economic or geopolitical, sometimes the narrative shifts, even in media outlets that are usually critical. If the facts on the ground are strong enough, they might get acknowledged, at least temporarily, especially in a complex time like late June 2025.
Interesting perspective. Okay, one more political one. This is about misinformation. At MeidasTouch called out at Gunther Eagleman for a post.
What was the issue?
Eagleman labeled a Republican Congressman, Don Bacon, as a Democrat.
Oops.
Yeah, big whoops. Bacon's a retired Air Force general, known for being pretty bipartisan, actually, just announced he's not running again in 2026. And Eagleman apparently has a history of questionable posts.
So more than just a simple error, perhaps?
Just like it points to something bigger.
Yeah, it really taps into that whole issue of political polarization, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And how easily misinformation spreads, especially personal attacks instead of, actual policy debate.
Things get heated online.
They really do. Research shows motivated reasoning is huge in partisan media, and hostile political chat online has jumped like 25% since 2020, according to Pew. It just makes it harder and harder to know what's true in that kind of environment.
Definitely a challenge. Okay, let's shift to some more human moments to wrap up. At NFL shared this really heartwarming clip.
The Eagles one.
Yeah, after the Super Bowl win, Jalen Hurts and Devonta Smith.
Oh, that connection they have, right? Back from Alabama.
Exactly. Hurts helped recruit Smith there. They won championships together. And then this Super Bowl win for the Eagles, 40-22 over the Chiefs. The emotion between them was just really powerful.
It's amazing, isn't it? It reminds you that behind all the stats and the competition, there are these deep human bonds, these shared histories.
Absolutely.
It's not just about the game, it's about the journey, the relationships. Really grounds it all.
Beautiful moment. And finally, something maybe a bit more relatable, maybe painfully so for some. From at Merrickmond.
Oh.
It's a video of a woman at the gym really struggling with a heavy barbell lift.
We've all been there.
Totally. But it's mashed up with a Goku meme and the song lyrics subtitled. Something like, "It's been the ruin of many a poor girl, and me, oh God, I'm one."
Oh, okay.
And you see other people in the gym, including a guy just kind of standing there not helping.
And that's where it gets interesting, right?
How so?
Because it starts funny, relatable struggle, but then it instantly sparks discussion. Gender dynamics in the gym, expectations, why didn't the guy help, should he have helped?
Right, all that stuff.
Exactly. It shows how these everyday human moments, especially the fails, get amplified online through memes and commentary, and suddenly they're about much bigger social questions, but still rooted in something we all recognize, pushing yourself,
Yeah.
sometimes falling short.
So, wow. We've covered a lot today. AI struggles, crypto booms, Elon's birthday and controversies, cultural clashes, body image debates, shocking health warnings from soda.
TikTok stunts gone wrong, deep political history, current Senate battles, media shifts, misinformation, and then those pure human moments of connection and struggle.
It's quite the whirlwind.
It really is.
Yeah.
But that's the point, isn't it? These X threads, they aren't just noise. They're snapshots. Snapshots of what we're talking about, worrying about, hoping for.
The collective conversation.
Exactly. And understanding the context behind the buzz, that's how you really get informed, how you see the bigger picture.
So what does this all mean for you listening? We hope it encourages you to dig a little deeper than the headline to ask why something's trending.
Yeah. And maybe think about the connections.
Like, consider this. How might those lessons learned from Claude the AI messing up a vending machine, how might that apply to the arguments around AI regulation in that huge Senate bill we talked about?
Ooh, good one. What does the gap between AI hype and AI reality mean for policy?
Exactly. What does it tell us about how ready we actually are for the future that seems to be arriving faster every day? Something to chew on.